is Shandra. Hello, hello, and welcome to this Facebook Live. I'm one of the core facilitators, and specifically, I wanted to hop on today to talk about how do we deal with the blocks, how do we uncover the blocks that might get in the way of us living a purpose-driven life. And I think, for me, I'll just say this feels so timely because with like this big state of limbo that it feels like a lot of us are in with COVID, with the state of the world, it's like we're kind of often in this place of the unknown of many of us are dealing with things the first time that we haven't ever really quite dealt with in our lives. And in this place of limbo, of ungrounding, how do we connect with our own purpose? How do we know if we're living our lives from this place? And in particular, I think this is such a rich and juicy topic because, like, when we live our life from our purpose, that's when we often feel so much more happy, so much more fulfilled, so much more at peace. Where life doesn't feel as much like, the shoulds and like surviving, but actually like our life is about something more. And yeah, so I'm passionate about this topic. It's definitely been up for me in my world and wanted to bring this over to our core live Facebook page. So I think one of the things to first talk about is with living our purpose and living a purpose driven life, like what even gets in the way of that? And first and foremost, I think one of the biggest things is almost, I don't know many people that were taught like how to actually tune in and to know what their purpose is. If you think about it growing up, we were always asked this question of, well, what do you want to do with your life? What do you want to be when you grow up? It was all about what you wanted to achieve, what your actions were, what your job was. And so much emphasis on that. And maybe it was along the lines of like, okay, well, what do you like? But then it was never like a conversation of what do you like, what fulfills you? What do you love doing in your life? What makes you the happiest? And when you say you want to be, this thing when you grow up, why does that draw you? Like going deeper and asking those deeper questions. Like for most of us, we were never taught how to actually connect to our purpose when we were growing up. And then I think on top of that, and I'm going to specifically speak more towards men today. And what I've seen a lot from the men in our community, from working with men at CORE, but also for anyone watching this call or watching this Facebook Live, you might, some of this may resonate for you as well. So there's other piece that many of us were not taught to actually trust or listen to our intuition. We were taught how to rationalize things, how to think through things, how to figure out next steps, like what seems to be the right thing to do. But for many of us, we weren't actually taught how to tune in with our hearts. What emotions come up with me around this idea of purpose, around taking action, as well as to connect with our bodies. Like what's present in my body when I think of taking action from this place? Is there a grounding? Is there feel like an alignment where my spine feels up straight and strong? Or is there a sense of like clenching? Is there a sense of like, I don't know, like as I talk about it, right? It's like this sense of clenching, smallness, constriction. Like all of those are signs as well if we are on the right path towards our purpose or not, or living a purpose-filled life. And I think in particular, a lot of us in our society haven't been taught to connect to our hearts or our bodies, but this is especially true of men. For many men, and especially in general, the masculine, right, which each of us has masculine and feminine within us. Just in general, men can have a heavier masculine. And the heavier like the masculine in general loves action, loves doing, loves producing, loves creating. And the feminine is more about being, allowing, receptivity. And so for many men, growing up in our society, you were also probably taught more like how do you think things through, figure out your next steps, and rationalize, and not as much taught how do you also connect to your heart and to your body. And so all of this can make it really, really hard to even answer this question of what is my purpose? Am I living my life from this place? And so how does this show up if you're not living in your purpose? Well, first and foremost, I'll say from what I've heard from many men is like, this is so painful because guys are more about action. The masculine is more about action. So this can be so painful to feel disconnected from your purpose. It can kind of just feel like you're adrift at sea, wondering what you're doing with your life, just kind of going day to day, just getting through it, right? Where there might even be a sense of numbness, of stuckness, of just like blehness in your life. But this can also, yeah, maybe you feel ungrounded. Or maybe there's this constant questioning of, am I doing the right thing or not? Or maybe there's this inner critic that consistently goes through your mind and says, you're not doing this right. This isn't the right thing. This should feel different. The other key indication too, if you're living a life that is not connected to your purpose, is often you are doing actions and taking action in your life that is more aligned with shoulds. Like, I should do this, so I'll do this. I will do this. I should do this. This is the right thing to do. Like, it's more of that defended kind of should place, which often, right, as I say that, there's a constriction with that, rather than a real, like, aligned, like, no, this is what I choose, right? And yeah, and it can even feel like sometimes we may not be in our purpose if we're working a ton, just like trying to get through, like just going through the motions. And there's just this sense of like, I'm just not fulfilled, right? So there's this sense of feeling adrift or lost, maybe numb, this questioning that can come up, this self-criticism, this like a ton of shoulds that go through your mind, and this just feeling of like just going through the motions and sluggish. And maybe even just pain too, of like, it is painful to live life from this place. And so that's how we often know, right, that we're not living from our purpose, as well as it might even feel constricted physically in your body. And again, it may even feel, right, like that just emotionally you're closed down, shut off, just sluggish, going through the motions. And so what's at stake if you don't solve this? What's at stake if you don't address this? Well, I mean, the first is, right, I know many studies have shown this. It's like when people get to their deathbeds, it's always this question of, like, did I live my life the way that I wanted to? Did I risk? Did I love? Like, that's what's honestly is at stake, is getting to your deathbed and just realizing you lived your life going through the motions, or lived your life doing what you felt like you should rather than what actually felt aligned and purposeful. What's also at stake is kind of constantly feeling like you're doing what everyone else is asking of you or telling you what you should do, rather than actually what you choose. So there's a sense of even disempowerment with that, right? And yeah, just continuing to feel adrift, lost, sluggish, questioning. And even from this place too, when we are disconnected from our purpose, often our relationships suffer. Where it's like we just stay surface level with people. There's not this deep sense of fulfillment or satisfaction in our lives. And so, what doesn't work, right? What doesn't work when it comes to this question of living your life from your purpose? Well, the first thing is someone else telling you what to do. Like, oh, you should just do XYZ. That's what you should do, right? Having someone else choose your purpose for you, which I know like happens a lot, right? It's like we go to other people for advice. We're like, well, what do you think I should do? Tell me. What should I do next in my career or my job? Do you think this is the right job for me, right? We look outside of ourselves for answers rather than within. So that is a key thing that doesn't work, because if you are living your life based on what other people say, then it's never truly connected to your purpose, your values, like who you are, right? And also, you're not connecting to your own intuition. So if you're only listening to others, it can also then be harder to know if you're off course, right? Like it's almost like then we wait for someone else to tell us if we're on course or not. Another thing that doesn't work is treating your purpose as something that is stagnant. It's like, oh, you know, for me, I love supporting people. I love helping people. That is my purpose, is to spread more love and compassion in this world. So let's say I treated that as something stagnant. Like, okay, figured it out. We're done. We're just going to keep living life from that place. That's not what life is. It has its ups and downs. It's like, instead, I want to keep tuning in and seeing, like, What is true for me right now? Does that still feel aligned? Does that still feel good? And tuning in and checking and seeing that your purpose might be something that actually is flowing, that can shift, that can change over time. So not checking back in doesn't work, right? And then another thing is a formulaic step-by-step plan. I mean, that's one of the gifts of the masculine is like, having, how do I get from point A to point B? How do I get, like, what are my next steps? What are my milestones? What are my plans? Which you do need, that is a part of it, but that's not only it, right? You also need that intuition, that tuning in, that checking in of, does this feel aligned? What comes up for me in this moment, right? When I think about taking this next step, does this actually still feel, again, aligned, meaning I feel open, I feel spacious, I feel grounded in my body rather than constricted, small, or forcing or doing. And then finally, another thing that doesn't work is when we try to go through our purpose and connect to our purpose and figure out our purpose without addressing the underlying defenses and strategies that actually get in the way of that. So for example, like if you don't heal the parts of yourself that might be a people pleaser, that care about what other people think, that are really harsh on yourself, that are always trying to do the right thing, or the part of you that feels like you need to control everything all the time, or the part of you that has a lot of fear when it comes to risking, right? If we don't tend to those places, then those are going to unconsciously get in the way of us living our purpose. They're going to actually, that's what can lead to self-sabotage, right? So we need to address some of these places too. It's not only tuning in with your intuition, checking in with like, asking yourself, well, is this my purpose or not? What is my purpose? And only asking yourself that. It's like, you need to tune it, you need to address and heal those underlying things that could get in the way as well, right? Because they will seep in. They will. So yes, so that's a key thing is what doesn't work is trying to tackle your purpose from an undefended or unhealthy place rather than a really rooted and grounded place and healing these other parts of us that can get in the way. So what does work when it comes to living your purpose, connecting with your purpose and living your life from that place? Well, one key thing is building up your awareness and ability to tune in with your heart and with your body. Okay, so being able to again see what emotions come up for you when you think about going into your day-to-day job or with the relationships that you have. Is there fear? Is there numbness? Is there excitement? Is there peace and trust? Like what emotions come up for you around this, as well as what comes up physically for you as you continue on through your life? Is there a constriction or a clenching, or is this an openness? I think Brene Brown says something like strong back, soft front. It's like you can feel that strength as well as that openness to it. There's like a softness and an okayness and a grounding in that. And so when you can get to know your heart and your body, you'll get to be able to tune in more with your intuition of if this feels aligned with you or not. And then another key thing is to tend to these places that can get in the way. And you can do that by letting your emotions that come up around your purpose take you deeper. So if you feel stuck in that, when you think about stepping into something that would feel really aligned and you notice that fear comes up, like tend to that fear. Get to know that fear, heal that. If there's the part of you that comes in that says, well, what if that's not the right thing to do? Like tend to that part, right? And again, a lot of what this is like integrating these parts of ourselves, not getting rid of them, but actually like healing them and tending to them. So that finally, another key part is developing your healthy self, which is, something we call at core is your healthy self, which is basically the big part of you that is wise, the part of you that can hold all these other little parts, the emotions, the fears, the survival strategies, defense mechanisms. Like your healthy self is the one that can witness all of that, hold all of that, stay present with all of that, and bring compassion to that. So you want to develop your healthy self, because when you can look at your purpose from your healthy self, that's when you really know that you're aligned, right? And then also it's from our healthy self that we have the capacity to heal these other parts that we need to tend to that might self-sabotage and actually integrate them, right? I love using this analogy. It's like you can think of like we're driving a bus and you have your healthy self driving the bus with all these other parts in the back or whatever doing their own thing. They're not kicked off the bus, right? They have a place. It's just that they're not the ones running the show. They're not the ones driving the bus. So, and then finally, really beautiful questions once you've connected to your healthy self to ask yourself is, what do I value? What is important to me and feels fulfilling? What lights me up? What makes me feel like all of it's worth it, even if it's hard, even if I have to sacrifice? Even if I have to sacrifice the idea of who I was, like what makes it worth it? And when you can ask yourself those questions, especially of what do I value, what's important to me, then you can ask yourself, and what are actions that would align with that? What are next steps that would align with that? Right? For me, if one of my values is authenticity, what's the next step that aligns with that? That allows me to tune in, like to live my life from that place of authenticity. So, and as you can see, this process doesn't necessarily look like a checklist of like go straight from A to B. Like this gets to be an inquiry. This gets to be about healing as well and connecting to that healthy part in you. And again, even with this whole process, it's like you can see that this is something you can keep coming back to keep tuning into. In this moment, am I aligned? Am I living my life for my purpose? Or has this shifted? Let's check back in. So, and I think a lot of that too is like, healing even our own relationship to the masculine and feminine within. And so in particular for men, I think it's this key thing of, how do you heal some of the feminine within too, or your relationship with the feminine? Like, how do you like develop that capacity to inquire, to tune into your intuition, to also be, to surrender, to allow, to be in that receptive place, so that then from this place you can choose action that feels aligned and connected to your purpose. And that's why we have our men's immersion weekend, because our men's immersion weekend, which is an online workshop, it's just Saturday and Sunday, is all designed to heal your relationship with the feminine, both in the feminine around you, perhaps in your relationships, but also in respect to within. And that whole weekend is designed to connect you to your healthy self, to heal those parts of you that can get in the way of you living your fullest expression in your life as a man. And so if that's something you're interested in, maybe you feel that sluggishness in your life right now, or you're just like, I just feel stuck. I just feel like there has to be more than this, or I'm just going through the motions. Or maybe you feel that adrift sense and you're like, you know what? I need some support with this. I want to tend to these places. I want to heal these places. I want to connect with my healthy self so that then I can move forward in my life. Then come to our men's immersion weekend. It's actually this upcoming weekend, Saturday and Sunday, and registration closed Thursday, but we'd love, love, love to have you. I will be one of the leaders of the weekend and would love to be able to support you and guide you as you heal your relationship with the feminine. So, I'll put more of the details in the comments below, but hopefully this gives you some things to chew on, to think about for yourself around your purpose, and wishing you all a wonderful day. Bye.